Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm the ever-loving Shorty, and we've got a little bonus Tuesday afternoon review because there's a lot of new stuff out this week. And when that happens, I do try to fit as many as I can. It does mean we are not going to be reviewing some of the one-shots or miniseries stuff, but we are starting with Maskerade. This one is spelt wrong, and it bugged me. It still does. Sorry. I know it's done for a reason. I'm hoping it will be clear to people who read it. But when I saw that, I thought, no, that's not how you spell that. Kevin, you're a professional writer. Sort yourself out. And it's not just Kevin Smith. It's also Andy McElfresh. Now, I know Andy McElfresh because I used to listen to an awful lot of Kevin Smith podcasts back in the day before they became just too much of muchness. And even with Andy McElfresh, where it's basically Andy being the intelligent guy explaining a lot of stuff, Kevin Smith a lot of questions. And it was a very frustrating podcast to listen to because Andy was clearly intelligent and Kevin was clearly high. And I'm not criticizing drug use at this point, but I'm saying he just got high and constantly drifted away from the point, was interrupting and asking questions, a big old pain in the butt. But I liked Andy. So I'm kind of curious how these two are going to work together. And the answer is they work pretty well. And it's weirdly easy to dismiss Kevin Smith, and I have done it in the past myself. There's sometimes where I think he is just going through motions, and I don't think he is as good as he used to be. But I don't necessarily think that's a huge criticism, considering how good he was. He's still doing interesting things. He tends to, in movies, sometimes fall into patterns. But his comic books have kind of gone the other way. His early comic books were more like he was trying to recreate his movie ideas or his form of storytelling into comic books, and that doesn't work as well. For a start, Kevin Smith's stuff is really heavily scripted. He has gone on record in the past saying he really dislikes the idea of actors coming in and improvising his stuff because he has a cadence and a rhythm. He has a flow to what he's doing. And that's all well and good, but to really get that in terms of something you enjoy as a medium, a really good actor is going to add more to it than just an artist doing a single shot with lots of dialogue. Especially when talking heads, where it's just backwards and forwards, it's a lot harder to set a rhythm and set a flow. Some people can manage it. I think Brian Michael Bendis is one of my favorites, this kind of thing. He can do lots of text backwards and forwards, and he does this by like laying out the speech bubbles, which is a Kevin Smith thing he's doing here quite nicely as well. And it is good. It is certainly showing his signs of growth as a writer in terms of he's grappling with the idea of comic books a lot more. When he did his Kick-Ass comic book, quite entertainingly, he had like next to no dialogue in it at all. This feels like it's more of a happy medium. And in terms of content, it does hit a couple of Kevin Smith kind of fun things, of basically the idea that new media is being looked down upon from old media, where it's actually doing more exciting, more brave things. It does feel occasionally like a middle-aged man, trust me, I know, talking about social media and what you can do with various apps and how you can reach an audience and what you can actually change in terms of like actually changing things, not just talking about what you want to change. But still, it is something worthwhile that he talks about. I'm certainly not complaining about it. And the story and the plot is kind of cool. The setting is nice. He spends a little bit of time setting it up, and I think McElfresh probably came in and helped a little bit there in terms of political stuff and naming conventions, quite interestingly. But unfortunately, it ends at a really odd note. I'm fairly sure that they're building something. It's only like 4 issues. But instead of the end of the issue feeling like revelatory and like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens next, instead it feels a little bit like, what? Okay, cool, but who? There's just not enough context. There's like an entire new set that turns up, like in terms of like where the events take place, and it's so little explanation done to it, and there's a big question mark over how some people got to it. It just feels like it worked better if you knew a little bit more backstory, which could have slowed down, or if they ended it with a little bit more exposition after it, so a few more pages. It doesn't feel like a complete issue 1. It feels like there's something missing from it. Well, issue 1's that is going to be problematic to enjoy. In terms of the artwork, though, it's beautiful. It's simple, it's bold, it's colourful. It reminds me of Archer, which I think you'll probably get when you see just like the level of detail or the lack of level of detail, but it works and it fits in with the setting and the scene as well. It's the artist's name, by the way, John Sprengelmeyer. Excellent name. I had a quick look at some of their work online, see what else they did, and they generally do some stuff which is like a cartoony bent to it, but with an adult style. Have worked with Kevin Smith before and stuff which looks fantastic, and this is very strong from them. Page layouts into what they do. The lack of talking heads, but when they come, they are interesting. Like the way they frame it is cool. There's one bit where it's 2 people in a car talking, and the camera is kind of like behind them. the POV is behind them, and it just adds a little bit extra to it rather than just being two guys facing towards cameras, point of views, and talking to each other. He clearly knows what he's doing with form, and I think he would have informed quite a lot of the choices Smith was making and actually making it feel more like a comic book. Certainly promising, certainly interesting and well written, but that ending means I am less inclined to carry on with issue 2 rather than excited to see what happens. But hopefully we'll have better things coming in for the rest of the week, because that's it from me for now. But I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, look after yourself, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.